Happy Monday, Algebra. Happy e-learning day. So here's what you're going to do today. I'm going to do a short video, and then your assignment's going to be to do all the odds on both sides of the worksheet that I gave you on Friday right at the end of class on systems of inequalities. Here's what you need to know is if you were not there on Friday, you'll have to access the worksheet in Canvas. And those of you that for some reason you don't have the worksheet, you'll also have to access the worksheet on Canvas. Now, if you can figure out how to do it on your Chromebook, that's totally fine. But if not, just use regular notebook paper, and I will show you how I make graphs when I don't have graph paper, because I'm going to have to do the same thing because I didn't actually bring home a worksheet and I didn't actually bring home any graph paper. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you are. And then, of course, we will have our tests supposedly this week, depending on how the weather goes, but it definitely won't be on Thursday now because we won't be ready for it. On Friday, you guys were supposed to do number 2 and 5 on Thursday's homework. We'll talk about those maybe tomorrow, assuming we're back at school. If not, I may talk to you about them in a video tomorrow. The triple system, don't worry about that. We'll talk about that when we return or later this week. All right, so here we go. So please get out the worksheet where I just told you you're going to do all the odds. I'm actually going to do a couple of them with you just so you have a couple more practice problems since we really, kind of hit it quickly on Friday. All right, so here we go. So you will notice if you have the worksheet, well, you do have the worksheet, when you look at it on Canvas or you have the paper version, if you look at the side that actually says 6-8 or it actually says 4-6 in it, that 4-6 is the chapter in the section that's in your book. They actually did a couple of examples for you. Now, I don't know if you could follow those examples, but I did want to point those out. So I'm just going to pick a couple to do with you, and then you're going to be on your own. I'm just going to go ahead and start, and let's do number 3 together. And what I did was I just drew a temporary graph since you don't have graph paper. So I'm going to do like you're going to have to do. It's not going to look beautiful, but it's okay because the whole point of this is to practice. So if we look at that first inequality at the top, I'm going to switch colors and I'm going to graph y equals x plus 1. So of course I know my slope is 1 and my y-intercept is 1. So I'm going to go up to 1 and then I'm going to go up 1, right 1. The inequality was a less than, which means it's going to be a dotted line. And you have to make sure you go all the way through the graph. All right, and then the next thing we need to do is we need to pick a test point. So I can pick 0, 0, and I'm going to plug in 0, 0. 0 is less than 0 plus 1. 0 is less than 1 is a true statement. Whoops, that is definitely not true. Okay, true statement. So I'm going to make sure that I shade the side that 0, 0 is on. Okay, I'm going to switch colors now. And I'm going to do the second equation, 3x plus 4y equals 12. So my x-intercept is 4, 0. My y-intercept is 0, 3. And my slope would be negative 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to go graph it. So x is 4. Y is 3, and then my slope is down 3, right 4, so down 1, 2, 3, right. We're just going to say it's over here somewhere. Not going to be exact, totally fine. All right, so it is a greater than or equal to, so I'm going to make a solid line. I'm going to pick my test point. I'm going to use 0, 0. So 3 times 0 is 0, plus 4 times 0 is 0. Is that greater than or equal to 12? The answer is no. So because 0, 0 is here, I'm not going to shade that side. I'm going to shade the opposite side. Okay, so now I'm going to take my highlighter because I do have to signify where is my exact answer at, where they're overlapping. So you will notice that they're overlapping. So here, along here, and then I'm going to shade all in here. All right, so that's how number 3 looks. All right, so I'm going to pick another one somewhere along the way in your homework, and we'll go to the next slide. The next one that I'm going to work with you on is number 5. Whoops, I need a pen, sorry. I'm going to do number 5 on the other side, which says x plus y is less than or equal to -1, and x plus y is less or greater than or equal to 3. All right, so I drew my temporary graph. So if I look at the first equation, x plus y equals -1. My slope is -1/1. My x-intercept is -1. My y-intercept is -1. So x is -1, or no, that was y equals -1, sorry. X is -1, and then my slope is down 1, right 1. Okay, I know it doesn't line up perfectly because, of course, it's a graph that I made. But it is going to be a solid line. Okay. So I'm going to pick 0, 0. So 0 plus 0 is less than or equal to -1. That is not a true statement. So I'm going to shade the opposite side. Okay, now I'm going to do the other line. Let me switch colors. So x plus y equals 3. So my x-intercept is 3, my y-intercept is 3, and my slope is -1/1. So I'm going to go up to 3 on the x. I'm going to go 3 on the y, down 1, right 1. Now, before we talk about this problem, yes, I know they're parallel, but that does not mean no solution. There can be no solution in these, but when you have parallel lines, you still have to go ahead and do the test points and check the shading because they may very well overlap somewhere that would have answers to both. So there's no longer a situation where there's always going to be a no solution for parallel. There could be, very rare. But there is, I've never seen anything that would be in all solutions. Okay, so definitely a chance for no solution, but definitely I've never seen in all solutions. All right. So now, solid line, or let's put it this way, I've never given my students had anything that was all solutions. All right, so if I do a test point, we have 0 plus 0 is greater than or equal to 3, which is an untrue statement. So 0, 0 is here, which means that does not work. So on this particular problem, I would shade the opposite side. Now, I talked about the whole no solution and said it doesn't happen very often. Well, it just so happened on this one. Notice how they were parallel, but when I shaded, they never overlapped, okay? But see, that might have been not necessarily true. If I would have had that second equation in this problem as less than or equal to 3, it would have done this. I would have ended up shading over here, which means they would have overlapped here. Okay, now I know this is a total mess now, so I'm going to do a bunch of undos, but just showing you that in a parallel line system, it could very well have solutions. Okay, so let me get back to where the answer actually was. All right, so this was our actual graph. So they don't overlap anywhere. So in this particular system, there actually is no solutions that overlap. Okay, so that was the answer to that one. Okay, so of course you guys are going to do all of the odds on both sides of the paper, but if you notice at the bottom of this side of the paper, there is a different kind of problem that we have not talked about. All right, so if you notice, these 3 problems, it's backwards. I gave you the graphs. Your job is to figure out what 2 inequalities actually give you the picture. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, when I do these, I always put my equations in slope-intercept form because I think that's easiest. So you guys have to do number 11 as your homework, so I'm going to do number 10 and 12 as notes. So if we zoom in, I'm going to zoom in on number 10. All right, so the first thing I notice is both lines are solid, which means I know eventually that I'm going to have the equal to underneath mine. And then I also know, because I'm going to put them in slope-intercept form, I know I'm going to start with y, okay? Now, let's focus on this one first. So I'm going to make that my red one. So if you notice, that red one has a y-intercept of 2, and it has a slope of 1/1. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to write 1x, and I'm going to put plus 2, because that's what that line is. Now, the only thing I have to figure out now is it greater than or less than? So the way I do that is I pick my favorite test point, 0, 0. And in this particular problem, the 0, 0 is shaded, so I want 0, 0 to work. So I have to think about the fact if I put 0 here and I put 0 here, what symbol would I have to put in between 0 and 0 plus 2 to make this a true statement? Well, 0 is less than or equal, less than 2. So I need to come up here and put less than. So y is less than or equal to 1x plus 2 is my red line, okay? So now let's talk about, I'm going to call it my purple line. So if you look at the purple line, it actually has a y-intercept of 1 to -3. So I'm going to go up here and put -3. And then if you notice, it also has a slope of 1. So I'm going to put 1x. And now if I look at my test point 0, 0, again, I want 0, 0 to work. So if I go 0, 1 times 0 minus 3, so 0, -3, I want a true statement. What do I have to put in between there? Well, 0 is greater than -3, so I'm going to go up here and do this. So my answer to this problem is y is less than or equal to x plus 2, and the other one is y is greater than or equal to x minus 3, okay? Now, I'm going to go on and do number 12, and then you're going to do 11 for your homework. So if we look at number 12, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on this line right here, and I believe that's a dotted line. We're going to say that's a dotted line, okay? So that red line is a dotted line. It's kind of hard to see in the print. All right, so we're going to think about that red line, and so we know it's not going to have an equal to. We know it's going to be y, right? Because it's going through y and 1. So it's really the line y equals 1. Now, the question is, which way am I going to do my inequality? So if you think about it, this one is actually saying that it's shaded below. So if you look at 0, 0, which is here, do I want 0, 0 to work? And the answer is yes, because it's underneath the line and it's shaded, okay? So 0 here, 1 here, what would make it true? Well, 0 is less than 1. So that's actually the inequality, y is less than 1. Okay, now let's look at the other one. So the other one is a solid line. So of course I'm going to put my equal to. And if we look at it, it also has a y-intercept of 1. So I'll put plus 1. And it has a slope of 1 over 1. So 1x. And I'm going to put y. Okay, now let's think about this one. It is technically shaded on this side because that's what would make this area shaded. So 0, 0 is here. With this time, we do not want 0, 0 to work. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to put 0. 1 times 0 is 0 plus 1. So I need this to not be true. So 0 and 1. So technically 0 is less than 1, but I want it to be not true. So I'm going to do greater than. So y is greater than or equal to x plus 1. Okay, so my two inequalities are y is less than 1 and y is greater than or equal to x plus 1. Now, if you were taking a test, I might actually take my board if I had time, and I would actually graph this system on my graph just to make sure I end up with the picture back. All right, so of course, I've done 2 for you. You're going to end up doing number 11 by yourself. All right, so today's homework is finish both sides of this worksheet, the odds only, and then we will face tomorrow. Enjoy your e-learning day. Get out there and play in the snow. There's definitely plenty of it. See you guys.